What's up, guys? I am still alive, and guess what? I just found an arrowhead. Now it's chipped at the point that you would tie it to the shaft, but it is pretty crazy that I just found this. You guys can get a decent look at this. But yeah, these are, I don't know. I mean, you think about kind of the times gone past. The Native Americans lived here, hunted the deer, lived here for thousands of years, so it's like, kind of got to think like time of the dinosaurs, time of the Native Americans that hunted with these weapons, and now we're here trading digital coins. So I just want to give you guys a recap on some of the things that were happening. So we had the tour for the California Dogecoin that is completed. We started out against the Atlantic League teams. Started out in Southern Maryland, that's why Washington D.C. Went up to New York City, played Staten Island, played the Long Island Ducks. In Long Island, there was a little bit of a gap. Went to the Cleveland area to play Lake Erie Crushers for 3 games. Then there was a little bit of a gap, and then we went to Chicago, played the Juliet Slammers for a doubleheader, and then played the Chicago Dogs 2 games. Overall, great stuff. Even had one guy that started with us against the Atlantic League teams, and then later in our series we played him when we were playing the Juliet Slammers because he got signed by them, and then ended up in the starting lineup for opening day. So those are the things that we like to see. And some great guys displayed, a lot of ability. And, all these teams that we play in the MLB Partner League teams, a lot of changes get made, just even in the first few weeks of the season and stuff like that. So opportunities open up if guys don't get signed during spring training. Ultimately, we had the biggest game that we've ever had against the Chicago Dogs. So we won on Tuesday, May 7th against them 4-2. Then the next day was actually sold out crowd for Education Day, and they beat us 8-4. They went all out on the live stream and stuff like that, which was actually free. You can still watch that on Chicago Dogs website. But they did it like it was an American Association game, and so that was really cool for guys to get their footage and show out and have something to display kind of from that game. So that being said, again, it's just like when there's so much going on with this stuff that a little bit of the crypto I sort of checked out. Obviously I did see that Bitcoin went down to about 56,000, had retraced, and then it's popped back up. It's floating around 61,000 at this point. Now I'm going to kind of give some anecdotal stories of what I saw actually out on the tour, because you do go through these big cities, and when you have cleats on the ground, you kind of see what's going on. There's a lot of carnage, in New York City, as far as like going through and seeing a lot of wrecks and stuff when I got out of there. That's probably just kind of normal stuff. I didn't see a lot of the immigrants there in New York City where I was at. When I got to Chicago, though, at the Best Western that I was staying at by O'Hare Airport, it was like the owners who were like, these Indian people, which we commonly see that in the United States and in Canada. They were like all mad and everything, and there was I looked to the right at this room that they were trying to check out, and they seemed like they were really like upset, and it was literally like just suitcases packed like so high. In there was like, what's going on? And then in the lobby there was like probably like 25, I'd say, Somalian refugees. That was my assumption, that they were maybe from Somalia or something. And then it was like these owners or whatever were real mad. They were like yelling. So I don't know if these people were like 15, 20 deep in a room. I don't know. But that being said, they weren't happy, and they were sitting around the lobby, and I had to go out to the car, and it was like everybody staring at me. And I'm just thinking, what is going on? And then I told one of my guys, I'm like, dude, did you see all those refugees or whatever out there? So there's all these people illegally entering the United States, and I don't know what they're going to do once the funds dry up or nobody's supporting them. I don't know how they're getting here. I mean, it's like they're being funded. They're being paid to be flown in. They're being paid to be bussed around. It's very strange to us here in the United States, because we don't know exactly kind of what's going on. And we can sort of speculate, who's paying for this, or it's vote buying, or I don't know. But the border's wide open. So I guess if you want to come here and try to deal with these high prices or whatever you can. But it's kind of interesting. All these people are trying to come here, and then there's this other segment of people where it's like, it's too expensive here. I'm getting out of here. People are looking to go to Argentina. People are looking to go to Poland, Montenegro, um, maybe Japan. There's a lot of kind of vacated houses in Japan, Italy as well. Populations have collapsed in various different countries. And I don't know, people are trying to look for greener pastures, somewhere else they can live. Bali's looking nice. I follow some guys that are down in Brazil. They're like, Brazil? It's like they're at the beach. They're like, dude, this is like $700 a month. They can see the beach. It's looking nice. So that being said, I think the whole geomaxing and the whole moving around thing is going to continue to be a big thing. And all this inflation that we're dealing with, it's just not slowing down. Gas prices around like $3.60 a gallon, kind of in the Midwest. And again, I just kind of use this anecdotal stuff of, the wages. It was like, if you went back 20 years, people would just quit jobs that were, $9-10 an hour, hand over fist. Fast forward 20 years, well, the prices are more than 3 times that much, but people for those low-level jobs that are replaceable, that people are quitting, they're not getting paid 27 or $30 an hour. They're maybe getting paid 18 to 22 bucks an hour. So the wages for kind of the lower level stuff, you're going to thug it out in a factory or something like that, it has not kept up by any means. And I really feel sorry for the retirees, because what they had allotted, that was going to hopefully last them for 15, 20 years, 30 years into retirement, it ain't going to last with this inflation. They are in trouble. And it's really unfortunate kind of for these older generations, because you're enslaved in this system, and then you're told that, well, okay, if you work this amount, then you retire and stuff, and then you're going to be set, and you can not have to worry too much during retirement. That's out the window. Retirement doesn't exist here in the United States. So the amount of printing that has happened in these last two kind of presidential, between President Trump and between President Biden, all the printing that has been done is obviously to an absurd level, with the whole scamdemic and all that kind of stuff. So and all these wars and this, that, and the other and stuff. So we're all dealing with this inflation. Now, how does that relate back to crypto? I think that the stock market and kind of crypto and some of these investments are going to hold up at least through the election. I just think they're going to kind of prop it up, and people are going to kind of keep thugging it out, working every day of the week and just hustling. And then at some point this just has to break down. I just don't see how it doesn't. But then you look at the real estate market in Canada or Australia, you're thinking, well, how did it kind of perpetuate itself to become these massive bubbles in these cities like Toronto, Melbourne, Sydney, these different places? So you would think at some point it would reset itself and it would collapse. Obviously, you do have people, tons of, like 800,000 people have moved from California and mainly moved to places like Texas or Florida. And you do have some of that happen in New York City too, where people are like, I'm out, it's too expensive. And they are cutting the cord. But I think at some point this thing really unravels. We are still seeing some of the layoffs. Tesla was, I saw there was another round of layoffs for Tesla. And I think that the American auto manufacturers are going to be in big trouble once they have to actually roll out these agreements to get people's pay up to about $40 an hour. The agreement before was maybe that if you started on the production line at, GM, Chrysler, Ford, those kind of places, maybe be like $27 an hour or something like that. Over the next, I think, 3 years or something, it's going to crank to, start out production line work will be around $40 an hour. Sounds like a lot, but you kind of understand why people are fighting for it, because obviously the wages have not kept up with inflation. But that in itself will probably be the undoing, and will obviously lead to more automation and lead to bankruptcy for these automotive manufacturing. It's a competitive market out there, and you know, at the end of the day, everybody's jockeying for position. But you just think about, like, what are you going to do to kind of stack your crypto bags and stuff like that, because I don't think we've seen the peak. So that's kind of the thing with this. I don't think that this cycle's over. I think we're going to have this lull in here. I think it's going to kind of float around through the election, and we probably have a peak, whether it be ends up being late 2024, ends up being in 2025. Obviously the 4-year cycle thing would be late 2025, but maybe it comes in mid-year 2025. But think about all the tough times. You know, you sort of get by month by month, you're getting by year, you're thugging it out. You know, you've got this and that issue to take care of. It's just crazy, because you see this kind of, all these times have gone past where it's like the struggle is real, man. It's always been tough out there to survive, and you know, you got to be an apex predator out there. So you got to stack your crypto bags, and you can't be just walling around in self-pity. You know, it's just like one of the guys on the tour, it was like somebody was making up some excuse, and he was like, dude, you either pull through or you don't. You either pull through or you don't. So keep stacking your crypto bags. What are you guys buying at this point? What do you see going into the end of the year? Anything anecdotal you're seeing out there on the streets, whether it be with the refugees, the inflation, food costs, people losing their jobs, layoffs, any of that. Got to be the apex predator. Follow me on all social media, at Brian Phobos, YouTube, Instagram, Steam, at Twitter, Hive, DTube, Blurt, everywhere.